Hi everyone, it's me. Do you ever think about some of the words and phrases that are only said in the UK? I hope so, because that's the point of this video. So I've written down 17 words and phrases that I think you will only hear in the UK. You will only hear here. You will only hear here in the UK. I also picked words and phrases that are very common. I think it would be cheating to pick old school slang. No, we don't do that here. I picked words and phrases that I hear all the time. So without further ado, let's go. Number 1 is ta, as in thank you. I hear this all the time. My partner says it all the time. I think it's very sweet. I personally can't say it because it doesn't come naturally. As a foreigner living in the UK, my motto when it comes to words and slang and all that fun stuff is I'm just gonna speak. And if I naturally use the British equivalent of a word or a phrase, then that's fine if it comes naturally, but I'm not gonna force it because it sounds really stupid. Ta is one of those ones that sounds really stupid when I say it. I have to force myself to say it, so I'm not gonna say it, but I love it. It's wonderful. So if you received your pint at the bar, you'd say ta, or maybe you're in a store and you ask where something is and someone's like, oh, it's down there, you could say ta. It's really just a thank you equivalent. Number 2 is on your bike. So this is maybe a kinder way of saying, please go away. So on your bike, just think it's really funny. And of course you can kind of like visualize it, right? You're telling someone to go away. You're telling someone like, get on your bike and leave. I just think it's wonderful. Next, we have the incredibly common greeting, you all right, or y'all right, or just trying to condense those 2 words as tight as possible. You all right is basically a throwaway greeting. So the American equivalent might be like, what's up? You know, you're just kind of like checking in on someone. You're just like, hello. Here in the UK though, if someone asks you all right, you are really not supposed to answer honestly, which always, I think that's what throws me the most. If someone in Canada or America came up to you and said, are you all right? That's more of like, oh my goodness, this person is dying or ill or crying or something very bad is happening and you're asking that person, are they okay? Are they all right? So here in the UK, it's very much just like a throwaway greeting. It doesn't really mean, please tell me all the things that are going wrong with you right now. It's just kind of like, you all right? Yeah, you all right? Yep, all right, all right. You know, it doesn't mean much. Next is dodgy. I love saying dodgy. I think it's so much fun. It does sound stupid in my accent, but I don't care. Dodgy as in something's a little bit suspicious, something's a little bit bad. So say you are having a really terrible stomach ache and you think, maybe it was that dodgy burger I had. Or you're walking along in a city and you're like, oh, we can cut through here. And they're like, oh, this is like a really dodgy area. I don't know if you want to do that. So dodgy as in suspicious, as in bad, as in sketchy. Like a Canadian might say sketchy instead, like, ooh, that's a bit sketchy. Like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. Number 5 is cheers, the much loved word cheers. Now, of course, you say that when cheersing someone with a pint, perhaps, you raise your glass, cheers. But the way that the Brits use it as a thank you, I think it is just, it's just very comforting. So while I say cheers all the time as like a salut, cheers, that comes very easily. But saying cheers as thank you is something that's taken a lot longer. And I actually caught myself recently. I had a delivery to the house and the guy passed over the parcel and was walking away and, you know, said, have a great day or whatever. And I said cheers as in a thank you, kind of goodbye sort of situation. And that was the first time that I've used it in that context. So it has started which is really funny to think about, like the evolution of your own language and your own speech choices and whatever. But yeah, I think it's a really common way to say cheers as in a pub, but also cheers as in thank you. Another word that you will only hear in the UK is ta-ra. Now, I have found this to be spelled in like 9 different ways, but I'm just gonna pick a way that I like, all right? It's my channel, I'm gonna do what I want. So ta-ra as in goodbye, similar to ta, I mean they both start with T, really, but ta-ra kind of feels like a bit more posh to me, but it's still quite common. I don't say it, obviously, because it sounds, again, very stupid in my accent and it doesn't come naturally, but I love hearing it, and it does feel like a little bit posh. I don't know why. Like somebody at the street corner has a top hat and they go, ta-ra! Now, number 7 on British words and phrases you will only hear here in the UK is bonkers. I personally love saying bonkers. It's just a really fun word to say, all right? I like saying it, and I say it a lot. So bonkers as in like crazy, not necessarily bad. Like maybe someone tells like a crazy story and you're like, wow, that's bonkers. Or something happened and that's bonkers. So it's not necessarily like, you could direct it at somebody, calling them bonkers, that they are mad or insane or crazy or whatever, but also to use in like situations where something crazy happens or something like unbelievable happens, and it's just like, that is bonkers. Number 8 on phrases that you will only hear in the UK. A up, duck. I'm so sorry you had to hear that in my voice. Now, while I live in the southeast of England, A up, duck is not a common thing down here, but I know it is spoken across the UK, particularly in the Midlands and the North. I actually wrote it down because I didn't want to mess this up. So the internet tells me A up is a greeting, typically in the north of England and the Midlands, instead of hello. So A up, hello. You add duck on the end because it is a affectionate term for another person. So A up, duck, as in like hello, but also it's like quite friendly. I think it's very cute. It's not something that you would ever hear in North America. If anything, I know this is gonna annoy people, if anything, what's the equivalent, right? For my age group, potentially, what's up, dude? I know the Brits hate hearing that, but it's probably the closest thing I can think of. So what's up is just a very common greeting. You're not necessarily asking what are you doing or what's going on. What's up as in like a hello, an informal hello, and dude instead of duck. So A up, duck versus what's up, dude. Language, you guys, how exciting. So number 9, we have chuffed. So chuffed I hear quite often here in the UK, not something I ever hear in North America. Chuffed as in happy or impressed or delighted, you know. Say you went to a new restaurant and you're telling somebody about it and you were quite chuffed with your meal, like it was good, you were impressed, you were like, I always think of it like a little bit surprised. Maybe you weren't expecting it, but it's a good outcome. Chuffed. I do say this one sometimes. I can't help myself. It's a really fun word to say. And it just makes me happy saying it. So number 10 of things you will only hear in the UK is nip to the shops. So you are going to the store. Going to the store would be something we would say in the US or in Canada. Nip to the shops is like the really, I'm gonna say it, it's a cute British version. Nip as an action is just fun. And then of course, most people here in the UK will say shops rather than stores. I'm not totally sure why that one's more popular, but it tends to be. Of course, people say store, of course, but I think shops or shop is like the default way. So somebody is nipping to the, I'm nipping to the shop. I'm just gonna nip to the shops. Do you need anything? Yeah, get me some Marmite. Just kidding, I hate it. Hey everyone, did you know my partner and I run our own business? I know, shocking. If you want to find out more or buy something directly from us, please check out edenbridge.co.uk. I'll put a link in the description. You're gonna love it, I promise. Now number 11. I think whenever I do like a numbered list video, I always get the numbers wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is number 11, which is I'll give you a ring or I'll give you a bell. Now both of those, as you can probably imagine, mean in North America we would say I will call you, right? I'm gonna call you, but here you might hear I'll give you a ring, ring ring, or I'll give you a bell. Those tend to be quite common. At least where I'm from, I hear ring more often than bell, but that could be regional. In North America, we would say call, I'll call you. I don't say I'll give you a ring yet, because again, doesn't feel quite natural, but I do hear it quite often. Now, naturally, when we are in a nation of tea drinkers, we have lots of tea-related phrases like not my cup of tea. Now, as you can imagine, not my cup of tea means something that it's not for you, you don't like it, you don't enjoy it, you don't want it. It's not my cup of tea. All right, iron brew, not my cup of tea. Marmite, not my cup of tea. Waking up before the sun rises, also not my cup of tea. Soap operas, not my cup of tea. So even though tea is obviously a beverage, it doesn't have to only be used when you are talking about food or drink. It would be anything, right? Anything that is not your cup of tea. Number 13 is gutted, as in disappointed. I like saying gutted. It doesn't like come naturally in this type of accent. It's kind of hard to say, but I still love saying it. So maybe you go to your favorite pub and you realize that it's closed and you're gutted. You're disappointed, you're upset. You tried a new drink or TV show, or you've tried something that's supposed to be really awesome and you don't like it and you're gutted. So just a disappointed but a fun way of saying it. Number 14 is sorted. Everybody always makes fun of me for saying this. They think I'm saying sorted. I'm saying sorted. Doesn't it sound different? Sorted, sorted, sorted. Ooh, sorted, sorted. Right? They're completely different. So here in the UK, you will hear people say sorted very often when something is complete. It's kind of hard to explain that one. Like when something is organized or complete, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. How can I use that in a sentence? So maybe you are meeting friends for dinner and they're like, are we sorted for Friday? And you're like, yeah, I booked a reservation at this restaurant. Or they might say, are we having, is everything, this is so difficult. Is everything ready for Friday? You can just say sorted, or that's sorted, or God, does that make any sense? So while in North America, we would really only use the word sorted when things are assorted by color or sorted, organized by size. Here in the UK, you hear sorted a lot to describe situations or people. That's sorted. Are you sorted? We're all sorted, as in something is complete or organized. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. We're moving on. Number 15 of words you will only hear in the UK is knackered. Now, knackered means exhausted. You could say it means tired, but to me it's more than tired. You're knackered, you're absolutely exhausted. You've had such a busy day getting everything sorted for the party on Saturday that you are just knackered. Number 16 is Bob's your uncle. I love saying this when I say it all the time. Bob's your uncle is like, there it is, or something is done, or you just need to do that, and then Bob's your uncle. I actually Googled this one and I found something that I thought was quite interesting. Maybe nobody else finds this interesting, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That Bob's your uncle is similar to the French expression et voilà, and the American expression piece of cake. So it's like, you just need to do that and Bob's your uncle. Set that up nicely and everything else is a piece of cake. You know, it's just like done and dusted and sorted and Bob's your uncle. And finally, number 17, I thought we should have a Cockney rhyming slang included, which is all have a butcher's, or you have a butcher's, or will have a butcher's. So butcher's is short for butcher's hook, okay? And hook, what does hook rhyme with? Look. So butcher's means look. So when someone says, I'll have a butcher's or will have a butcher's, it means will have a look. Now in like regular life here in the southeast of England, I don't really hear a lot of Cockney rhyming slang, some of the more obscure or older ones, but there are some that are still pretty prevalent in everyday language, and I find butchers is one of them. You hear it a lot. It's still very much used day to day, even from people who don't typically speak Cockney rhyming slang. Butchers has kind of joined up just regular British language. In my humble and very unprofessional opinion. So those are 17 words and phrases that I think you will only hear in the UK, and they are common ones, because we ain't cheating, trying to pick really old obscure stuff. No, those are common British phrases. If you have a favorite from the list, make sure to leave a comment, or just leave a comment anyway, because it's a very nice thing to do and it really helps me out. So thank you for leaving a comment, and also thank you for giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing, because that would just absolutely make my day. I would be chuffed if you could do that. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!